Are you concerned about the safety along the river?
Sure. So while the incident involving Brendan Santo is tragic, anytime that somebody loses a son or daughter, or we lose a member of our community, it's a tragic incident. However, it is extremely rare. This is
I have
not
to stop
something.
you though. I understand another student went in the river the same day. You know that, and they were found by their friends.
Sure.
So that wasn't rare. 2 students went in the same time.
Yeah, a student drowning in the river is extremely rare.
Right, but you had 2 students the same day go into the river.
Sure.
And no one really shared that information.
Yeah, we did learn during the investigation that there was a student who ended up in a shallow part of the river for a brief time. Even that, I would say, is rare. We are not aware of incidents where students go in the water very often at all. It's not something that we experience. If we look at our calls for service on campus, when public safety resources are summoned for somebody that's in distress in the water, that is something that we don't deal with very often at all.
Did you make a report on that second student that went in the river that day?
So my understanding.
Document on it?
So my understanding is that that student never reached out to emergency services. That incident was discovered weeks later when they came forward because they were in the area when Brendan Santo went missing.
I guess the question then, you're saying it's a rare situation, but how are you going to know if you don't
Sure.
document how many times kids go into the river?
Yeah, when they call 911 or they reach out for public safety resources.
That would be the only time you know.
Correct.
Or keep a track of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. If people, if somebody's in distress in the river, we would encourage them to call 911, and that's not something that we see very often.
Do you think the fencing is a good idea then? Because it sounds like MSU is concerned about the safety of the river, so they're making some changes. But you're saying you're not as concerned, or?
So it's hard to talk about. The river is very long, right? The river is a vast river, so it's a hard question to answer. But police and public safety, we support the university in looking at ways to improve safety on campus, and we are part of those conversations. And we want to be involved in looking at specific areas of the river, and I think that's what's important, is the specific areas of the river and where we can potentially improve safety.
The deadfall area, excuse me if I'm not using the right terminology, which is where he was found, but where all the trees were gathered.
Sure.
I understand that it's been cleared.
So I wouldn't be able to speak to that. That area is in the city of Lansing. I do know that there was plans during the search to clear that area, but I'm not sure if it's been cleared since then. But that's not an area that's on campus or something that we have control over.
As you take a look at the investigation, are you proud of how your agency responded? I have to ask this is accountability.
Sure. And it's a hard question to answer because of the tragic outcome. We feel that our officers, our investigators, put their hearts and soul into this investigation. Are we proud of how our people handled themselves and dedicated their time to this investigation? The answer is yes. We are extremely proud of that. We're proud of all the resources that came together from all over the state of Michigan, from different, not only law enforcement agencies, but fire departments and volunteer searchers, and even the family themselves. And so, are we proud of that aspect of it, that we were able to be part of that team and lead that effort? Yes. It's hard to say that when the outcome was so tragic.
What do you say to the fact that your agency did not find the body and a private investigator did in 14 days?
Sure. So we remain committed to the search operation from day one. The Monday after Brendan went missing, we had dive agencies and dive resources on site, and we continued to utilize the expertise of outside dive resources and search teams. And that's something that we never stopped doing as we worked our way downriver. As you know, Brendan was found.
From what I understand, no, Oakland County and other agencies did offer, and you said you were all set on some other days.
Sure. So we continued to utilize dive resources that were available to us. We did defer to the expertise of some of those outside dive resources, but the operations that we conducted with numerous dive teams from around the state was impressive. And we continued to work our way downriver. And the area where Brendan was found was about 1.5 miles from where he was last seen. And those dive resources had not just got down there yet. And there was operation planned for that area. It had not been executed yet.
So you're happy with the way your department investigated?
So as I said,
Not about the ending, but I guess I just,
sure.
and I mean, we're being real frank here. I mean,
Yeah.
we knew about the press conference and, all the stuff we got into. I'm not even getting into that. But, I just got to ask, because you spent weeks and hours and resources, and you didn't find Brendan, and a private investigator did it in 14 days. There has to be a question running this department. What can we do better?
Sure, and we can always, there's always lessons that we can learn from any incident. Our specialty, MSU Police and Public Safety, is not in dive or search and rescue operation. We did defer to some outside resources and coordinated that effort. We were not aware of all of the efforts that the private investigator put into this, and both the family and the private investigator, who we can't thank enough, that we appreciate his efforts. We're aware that we had an operation planned to search that area. So this is never about credit for us. This is never about who did what, and we recognize that there are so many people involved in this. And you mentioned the private investigator and Ryan Robinson, and we had conversations after his effort, and we appreciate his time, we appreciate his resources. Like you said, there's always things.
Like, would you ever do a commemorating I know Oakland County held a thing for him.
So we've had phone conversations with him, and we have thanked him profusely for his involvement in this case.
Safety-wise, you said in December things changed a bit. You're adding another layer. Talk to me about why that's so important with this app.
Yeah, so in December we rolled out our Safe MSU app, which was an app that was in development before Brendan Santo went missing. But that app includes a lot of resources for students and faculty, staff, and guests and visitors to campus. Some of those resources on the app include a virtual friend walk feature that allows a friend to send their location in live time if they have to walk alone at night, or if they have to walk to a destination so they can track each other. That virtual friend walk feature has been overwhelmingly popular. Some other resources that are in the app are just general safety resources for our students in our community. So that includes mental health services, supportive services for victims of certain crimes, and really giving them informed options of how to report and where to go for resources.